Hi, everyone. Hope everyone had a great weekend and a good start to the week so far. The NASDAQ, obviously, um, top notch today, up 0.41%. The Russell 2000 up 0.42%. The S&P 500 up 0.48%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 0.44%. So as you can see, we basically did the same thing across the board. Every index looked great, but once again, volume is well below average. And as I keep saying, the further we go up on lower volume, the more susceptible we become to a pullback. I'm still bullish, but it's dangerous up here. I can't switch no matter what. I mean, I know that the S&P 500 is back in new highs. It's technically under a buy signal, but I'm going to keep the Russell 2000 under a neutral signal just because I've got to see some volume in the ETFs or the indexes. It's not there. So even though we're fully long, our model just isn't under a across the board buy signal. But that doesn't mean we can't keep on picking winning stocks, and that's what we're going to do. So tonight we have three sells. LPSN is a 50% sell because even though you don't see it on this chart, it is closing below the 10-day moving average before producing any significant gains. I think we now have a small loss, yes, a 1% loss. So that means since we lost our catalyst, which was Max Green Bop, we started losing on Thursday. It wasn't that bad. Friday, we officially lost it. And now that we're close to a 10-day moving average, since now our gains have turned to losses, this is not a 25% sell. This is a 50% sell. LPSN would be a 25% sell if BOP was still max green. So that one is gone. Also, EJ, we just went long. What happened, buddy? Well, it pulled back on above average volume. If volume was below average on today's pullback, it's only a 50% sell. But because volume was above average, I have to kick it towards the 75% end, so it's going to be a 66.666666% sell in my portfolio. So EJ taking off just a little over half, just a little under 3/4, 66% of it, because it didn't move higher immediately. This does not mean that it can't blast up higher tomorrow, but Leju, when it broke out, it worked immediately, so I expect the same thing from EJ. It didn't. But overall, everything looks fine. Remember, the first cut loss areas is 1166. It's above 1166. So if you don't want to cut any, and if you really believe in the future in this stock, go for it. Me, I just got to be careful. And Grub, I got lucky on this one. Grub triggered a buy stop intraday on Friday, reversed on heavy volume. I was afraid it could pull a DSKY and rally higher. However, whenever DSKY broke out and pulled back, it finished up on the day, and also it wasn't like it finished down with higher volume. Grub, we had well above average volume on the reversal, but still I wanted to hold 25% of it. Based on how many shares I had, it was more prudent. It was either sell 70% of it or 80% of it. I could go in between, but I wanted to keep it round numbers. So I sold 80% of my Grub position in the morning. Luckily, we got a great fill, thank goodness, because the stock completely cratered intraday. It's now a full sell, so the small remaining position has got to fully go by now. I hope everybody adhered to the partial sell signal. If not, pretty ugly day for Grub. I got to admit, pretty disappointing, especially when we have so many stocks rocketing higher. And on that note, we have another stock moving higher that I had to take some off. BDSI broke out back here on the 19th. Day after it was fine, but then the very next day it closed at 1346, 1 penny above the 1345, which thankfully prevented it from being a full sell, and instead was only 75% sell. And I said what you can do is always put your buy stops. 1402 would have been the buy stop. Had you do that, you're already long BDSI. I don't have a buy stop because I don't have that much cash, so you got to pick and choose. But BDSI closing up on heavier volume. BOP is back into the green set area. Love green BOP, obviously, as you all know. And with that breakout on higher volume followed by being preceded, by a pocket pivot point signal on Friday, it appears good to go to me. It's an ascending base breakout. I love the numbers. Even though it's not making money this year, 2015 is going to be a great year for earnings. Sales growth is huge. So BDSI is a 2.5% add as it is breaking out back above the 1402 line and doing so on strong volume with strong BOP following a pocket pivot point signal. So all good there. Also, two Chinese names. One Chinese name that's actually headquartered, I guess, over in the Cayman Islands. So QUNR is breaking out on strong volume. Look at all the pocket pivot point buy signals right in here, July, August. So pretty bullish overall. We have an increase in volume and an increase in BOP today and a bullish intraday reversal. So we're good to go there. Cut loss levels 30.22, 31.85, 29.67, right? 29.67, 29.90. Excuse me, I'm an idiot. 30.22 is the first cut loss level. 29, man, I got to fix this all up. 29.90. Yeah, okay, that means that I need to go back in my long analysis because I wrote down the wrong number. Very stupid. Okay, $30.22 is the first cut loss. $29.90 is the second cut loss. $29.64 is the final cut loss if QUNR does not work. Chinese name, hopefully it does. And then we also have HPJ. This is Hong Kong High Power Technology. They do the wireless charging stations. HPJ is breaking out above. So 613 was going to be, the place where I had buy stops. But because of the intraday reversal off the highs of 550, 550 becomes the new buy stop if it consolidates and breaks out. It didn't consolidate that much more and just went ahead and started to break out today. Very bullish chart with volume well above average. You can see the longer term chart here. Very bullish also. So HPJ is a new long. First cut loss, 533. Another cut loss, you can use 512, 508 area, and then you can ultimately lose the $5 area, 50-day moving average as your final cut loss. But HPJ, only 2.5%. Why? Low price stocked. A lot of risk involved if we're wrong. QUNR, only a 2.5% stock. Why? They're losing a lot of money. Cash flow is horrendous. This is really a great technical pattern with some great sales growth, revenue growth, and that is all it is. All right, everyone. Have a great Tuesday.